Advisory Committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. The time is 7 p.m. We'll now conduct a roll call vote to verify a quorum. I will call each member by name. When you hear your name, please respond by saying either present in person or present remotely. And Nora?
Present in person.
Paul?
Present in person.
Divya?
Present in person.
Penn?
Present in person.
And I am present in person as well. There are George Pucci will not be able to join us tonight. Laura, Adam, and Alex may join us later. The roll call indicates that 6 members are present in person and no members are present remotely. With a quorum confirmed, the meeting is called to order at 7:01 p.m. Because...
Excuse me, Stephen?
Yes, sir.
Are there 6 of us present?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5, so we don't have a... Yeah,
Yeah, we
5 out of 9. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I hear that.
You made me doubt myself for a minute.
We have a quorum, but
Since all members are physically present, all votes during the meeting will be conducted by voice vote. The agenda for tonight's meeting is as follows. Review and approve meeting minutes from January 7. We will hear operating budgets from Public Works, which includes town buildings, DPW snow and ice, transfer station, and cemetery. Revolving fund presentation, farm pond, and town forest sale of firewood. Capital budgets from the Department of Public Works and Advisory Committee member reports. Are there any items to add to the agenda that were not reasonably anticipated at least 48 hours before this meeting and that require attention before our next scheduled meeting on January 28, 2026?
No.
Hearing none, I move to adopt the agenda as read. May I have a second?
second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? The agenda is adopted. So minutes from January 7th. I circulated those minutes. Did anybody have any comments or corrections to those?
I do, in fact.
Okay.
On legal counsel, it should be a bit of clarification there. In the final sentence, it was noted that legal expenses are one of the few budget item lines. I believe they are one of 2. Snow and ice removal being the other.
Thank you for that correction.
There may be an additional correction, if I may.
Please.
And this is allowed to be overspent with adjustments made in the following year. Do we make those adjustments in the following year or at the end of the fiscal year under discussion with the year-end transfer, the interdepartmental transfers or free cash?
Well,
However they come.
the adjustments will be made within the fiscal year, either at the town meeting, through a reserve fund transfer or a year-end interdepartmental transfer.
Okay, so it's
Would be done prior to June 30 of 2026.
just one of 2 budget lines that budgets of lottery percent adjustments made in the current fiscal year or something along those lines.
Yes, okay, thank you.
One of the 2. Do you want me to change it now since I have the Word document? Okay, got it.
We'll double check that.
Sure.
Thank you, Penn.
You're welcome.
Any other, do I hear a motion about those minutes? I make a motion to adopt the minutes as amended. Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. We'll jump into operating budget presentations. We'll start at cemetery tonight. Of course. Right. Welcome.
Well, I know here are Jeremy and Ken and Sean. So welcome all of you to advisory.
Welcome for coming tonight.
We don't have a presentation per se.
We have your budget.
Yeah,
Okay.
last year.
Okay.
So I don't know what
Before you jump into the budget, could you just discuss a little bit about what the goals and objectives of the cemetery department is, and just to give us some background information?
Bury people. That's our primary function, to work with the families and to bury the people.
Continuing
Actually,
here,
read our town report, the first paragraph says our mission is to. I don't know what you want to know. That's what we do.
very good, thank you. And why is your budget down for next fiscal 27?
Because we went over it very carefully and said that there are some things that we're not doing anymore, and CMND has helped us with a few things that we're not paying for anymore. Thank you very much. Like mowing the backfield, that type of thing. We have a contractor who does our maintenance work. Stop me if I'm going not where you want to go.
Please continue,
Okay.
you're doing a
We have
great job.
contract, and we've done this for I don't know how many years. And we can bid it out. And then it's good for a year, and then we can renew it twice as long as we don't change anything in it. Is that correct, Jeremy?
That's correct, yeah.
And I think we're in our second year now, and so we know that the maintenance will be level funded. Having a contractor as opposed to hiring people, we have no, I don't know what you call them, benefits. I don't think they're benefits, but that's the term they use. We have no equipment, we have no vacation time, we have no sick time or anything like that. That's all on the contractor. Right now, we're using Big Tree. Are you familiar with them? I think, did they do this area right around here?
Huh?
Big Tree? Did
No,
they?
we do that.
No, but I meant, did they do it, the plantings and all?
They did some planting.
Yeah. The person that used to do it, who had done it for 25 years, signed on with them. So we went out to bid and they got the contract. And I want you to step in if I'm wrong on anything or not.
No,
clear.
you're
Okay, I'm not opposed
that's
to
the
it.
mowing contract. Second year of a 3-year contract.
We have one more year to go after this one, and then we'll have to go out to bid again. And they've sort of said to us that they'll probably try to stay at the same level. They can't guarantee it today, but that's their intent. Not to keep going up and up and up.
You also have, I believe, some funds that were voted on in prior annual town meetings. Perhaps there's about $76,000 in that fund. Are you familiar with that, Jeremy?
What do you ask? I'm having trouble hearing you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you know if there are any plans for those? There's about $76,000 in cemetery enlargement funds.
We can't spend it because the town won't let us. Yeah. So we'll have plans if we ever can get it, but it's been 3 years and they said, no, you can't have it.
I think what Steve is referring to is the money that's already been approved in town meeting.
Oh, what we want to do, we've worked with Deb Seifert, is transfer a lot of that into perpetual care interest, so it will earn interest. And then we voted this year to donate, I don't know what the right proper term is, the asterisk at the bottom, it says we're gonna give you 20,000 to help offset our budget out of perpetual care interest. Deb said it doesn't show up yet, but it will show up when the omnibus budget is printed. And that's from the interest that fund has earned this year. We have perpetual care that has to be held in perpetuity. We have interest on the perpetual care, and we have the enlargement fund. What we're doing is moving money, if we're legally allowed to, which is checking to find out if we are, into the perpetual care expendable portion, which will be earning interest, which we can then donate back to the town each year to help offset our budget.
Very good, thank you.
And this year, she gave us a figure of a little over 20, and then I saw her today, and she said it's up to 24. It's earned this year. You guys have good investments.
Good, thank you. Well, Jeremy, that shows up in your revenue projections.
It will now.
Okay, does anybody else have a question?
I have a question.
Please.
You mentioned that DPW, it helped with some. Do you foresee that DPW would do all of the work there?
No, they're not doing all of it.
What?
Pardon me?
I'm just curious, why not? Is that something that's a policy or is that?
It's been done that way since the early 1900s.
That it's been a private contractor?
And it's less expensive. We don't have to pay benefits. We don't have to pay insurance. We don't have to buy equipment or maintain equipment. We don't have a shed.
And is that also what's the name of the mowing company?
Pardon me?
The name of the mowing company?
Right now it's called Big Tree.
Oh, they're also doing the tree work. Okay.
Because I think he's a relatively new business. He's really responsive and very good at what he does. And if we've asked him to do some things, he's done them and he doesn't charge us extra for it. Things beyond the scope of his contract. Like I called him once this year about a massive amount of poison ivy. And he went and got it all rid of it. We never got an extra bill for it.
Okay, thank you.
And my daughter works with him. I don't know, her name is Janet Walsh. And she does, her, John, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she does landscape design and stuff like that. And she recommends him. She's working with him on other projects and recommends him very highly.
Okay, thank you.
But we did actually go out on like a regular legal bid
Mhm.
process.
Stephen,
Yes, Pat,
I have two questions on two items, if I may.
please.
So it looks like the monument restoration has been low and then last year was high. It's same 3,000 this year. I'm sorry, on the monument restoration, that number seems to pop up and down. And now
I mean, for repairing gravestones?
I don't know I actually don't know what monument restoration is, so that's my question.
What is it? That's like trees knocked stones over.
Mhm.
We had one a couple of years ago. A big tree came down. What happened? It was a big, healthy tree, and the poles came up. The whole thing turned right over, took out a whole section. That type of thing. We have them down now that need to be they just come in and they stand them up again. But they still cost us like $500 or $600 each.
The monument refers to gravestones as opposed to like some sort of.
Yeah, the people themselves are responsible for their stones, but when we knock them over. And we could also just leave them and say, let's leave them there. I mean, it's sort of our choice to have it look better by having the stones standing up. A lot of these are old and we don't know who the families are. We wouldn't know who to call. I mean, the cemetery opened in 1852 and a lot of the people, we don't know where they are anymore.
Well, you know where the people are,
Yes.
just know where the families are.
Where they are, they're under the ground, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Nora.
The burial costs, so it was 0, 23, 24, 25. Then we have 26, it was 12,200.
Uh-huh.
Is there, what was it?
Down depending on what's going, basically the family pays for it, but every once in a while something comes up that costs more. And we pay for it.
So you didn't pay for burial?
This is one of the things that I have trouble with is we have a budget and I get lost in which of these lines it is. I've been sort of told it's the total and spend it on what you need to spend it on. So for instance, we don't have a water system anymore. So we've taken that out of the budget, but a lot of these things, it might be a tree, it might be a monument, it might be a burial. And I have a tendency probably to put the wrong number on it. Deb is pretty good at catching it, but really the total that we look at, not the individual lines.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand why there was nothing for 23 through 25, and then in 26, somehow something got budgeted for 12,200.
Burial actually in the budget for years, we just haven't probably put it right.
All right, very good. Anybody else have any other questions for Chucky? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for doing it.
Oh, thanks,
Thank
Becky.
you. No, I appreciate it. I'll tell you, I'm old and I got a husband at home that needs help. And so not sitting here till 11 is really helpful.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for
Thank
making
you
the
very,
trip.
very much,
Appreciate
and
it.
thank you, Sean. I know I went ahead of you.
I'll be here.
Anymore.
I'll be here a while.
Behind the side, the first time I.
You almost wore them out though, so.
The first time I ever did this was like 1992, and I don't know if any of you remember Ken Crowell, but he was sort of doing what Jeremy's doing and the account at the same time, and he came with me. And the person in front of us spent an hour and a quarter on their discussion, and it was on the free cash in the money box in the selectman's office, which I think is a total of maybe $25 altogether. Well, we spent an hour and a quarter on it. So you guys are good and you're efficient, and I love it. Thank you.
How much are cemetery plots?
Yeah.
How much are cemetery plots going these days? How much is a cemetery plot?
We get $1,500.
$1,500.
Space,
Mhm.
and it doesn't, if you buy two, it's double. If you buy four, it's quadruple. It doesn't go down by buying more.
Mhm.
And I've actually sold two this week,
Mhm.
and we've done two burials in the last 2 weeks, and we have another one Friday, and another one I know will be coming early next week, probably.
Think you on Thursday.
They moved it to Friday. You mean Mabel?
Mabel,
Mabel, they changed it to Friday at 1:30.
that's good if they want to get burners up in that cemetery tomorrow.
No. Yeah.
And who does the digging? Can I ask just one more?
So they'll be doing his,
So who does the actual digging?
Rob Scott.
Okay. Is that on here too?
Huh?
Is that on here also? The people who do the excavating or the digging, so to speak?
It's not on there because the funeral home pays them directly, and we charge the same amount to every family for a burial. But the cost is different based on whether it's in the winter, whether it's on a Saturday, that kind of thing. My belief is that everybody should pay the same amount. So he gets a different amount, and then we turn the balance over to the town, and I believe it goes into the operating fund.
Did my question get answered? I don't know. I forgot.
But
So,
like the one we're gonna do next
so
time,
does Rob Scott get paid
Yeah.
separately, but by, you said
paid by the
privately, so that there's no charge? Okay.
town. So I get two checks usually.
Work on, on a public property needs to have insurance certificates in place.
And that he does have.
It's not liable, not liable.
Mhm. Then he does have that.
He has that, and it should be on file for him. He does everybody's septic systems too.
Right.
And he said, this is really fun because it's clean digging.
Okay.
He really enjoys it when he can spend a day digging a nice clean hole for something. They were up there today with 5 guys for about 4 hours trying to dig this hole.
I wouldn't say digging in Pine Hill Cemetery is the cleanest thing. There's a
No.
lot of ledge up
I
there.
was just,
It's a ledge today, a big ledge. But he has the ability to get through it, his patience.
thank you.
Thank you all for doing it. Most of you, I think, are new. And I really appreciate, because I realize it's an awful lot of time. And you guys are great to volunteer to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We enjoyed it. Thank you very much. All right. We will jump on to the next category, which is town buildings. Sean, would you like to perhaps walk us?
I would like to, but in the spirit of not keeping people up, I wonder if would you entertain town forest revolving?
Of course. Thank you for the
As
suggestion.
much as I want Steve to sit through my entire presentation. I'm actually hopeful he will.
All right, let's do that. We'll do the town forest sale of firewood revolving fund. Do you have that in the spreadsheet?
Well, I think you summed it up. That's the town forest report.
I've noticed advertising in the newspaper, I think, or emails, you're looking for folk to help.
We are.
Yeah.
With the group that has cut firewood in Sherborn started back in the 90s. And unfortunately, the group hasn't changed, so it's most of them are now in their 90s. So, and we've tried several times to reach out for volunteers and get a few once in a while. But I think the time is coming to an end that we'll have a firewood program, at least the type that we have right now. And they've been raising anywhere from, it's been more like $1,500 in the last few years to probably as much as $3,500 But we don't spend a lot of money in the town forest. The only time we really spend money is, for instance, this past year, we had a major logging project going. And we don't do it because of getting money, selling logs. We do it to take care of the forest. And that usually costs us money to do these things, but we do it in conjunction with grants. DCR. And we also, this year, did a lot of work on invasives. But we were able to get 2 grants for close to $30,000. But we have to pay from the DCR grants 25% of that. So that's chewed into our budget somewhat this year. We have about $9,000 worth of invasive work left to go this spring. So we'll be paying 25% of that this spring. But one of the things that we have started talking about is how else can we raise money without going to the taxpayers, obviously. And we've talked a little bit about trying to start a group similar to Friends of the Library that support the town forest, but that would really go into direct conflict with Sherborn Forest and Trail Association, which is very active in helping to maintain the trails. And they do a lot of fundraising. So now we're starting to talk with Sherborn Forest and Trail to see if we can piggyback off of them and really maybe help them do some fundraising and maybe earmark some funds. But I think that's going to be the way to go. And they do, I mean, right now they're paying for signage. We just started to put together a program that involves more fire rescue than anybody, but trying to identify all the trails, identify locations where they leave the main roads. So if there is any type of an emergency, any injury in town forest, they'll know where to go in and where the person might be that has to get picked up and taken somewhere. So we're starting that process right now. And fortunately, again, a couple of members of Forest and Trail have already started working on the same thing. And they've discovered that the town of Carlisle has already done a lot of this work, and they visited there this past week to steal some ideas. So we're going to see if we can't put something together along that line. But as far as money goes, you know what we have.
Yep.
Can't have any because we're not over 35,000. So that's about it. Yeah.
Right. Well, you have a nice balance in there. There's over 20,000.
Yep. Right now it's 24,547, I think. But we've in the last few years we've been over 30. Well, it's kept it under 35, but we've been over 30. But we're in good shape right now.
So there's no limit to how much you can raise. So you feel free to raise well over $35,000. The $35,000 is your spending limit.
Yeah. Well, I'll see if we can
You can a lot more firewood to sell or other things to go for it. No revenue limit, but a spending limit.
Questions?
Yes.
Questions by anybody?
Can I just ask for just a recap if somebody's listening for the first time, and also just for us, if somebody wanted to purchase wood, how does that work?
It's listed on the town website. There are a couple of people they can call, and they can arrange for delivery. They deliver about a third of a cord each time. I believe senior citizens have a discount. I think they're still under $100, just under $100 for a third of a cord, and I think that the other deliveries or 115 or 120. I honestly don't have those numbers in front of me. I don't remember if they went up last year a little bit or not, but
And who delivers the wood? It just,
Pardon?
who delivers the wood? Just volunteers? Okay. I was really liking Friends of the Forest, just for the record. But anyway, that's great synergy then. Hopefully you can do something with them. I love the trails here. That's what makes our town.
oh, they're good. Yep, and they're used a lot. It's terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming
It's
tonight.
wrong. Good luck. Have fun.
You're not gonna stay? I thought.
That was longer than I thought it was gonna be. I might have
I
reconsidered.
know.
I'm gonna go for coffee.
You might wanna.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
We found a double boo-boo.
Thank you for doing
Thank
it.
you.
All right. Sean, what do you want to start with?
Ready? Well, I'd rather start with DPW,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. You got a lot to cover, so
So is that 420, Sean? Is that the only one?
Yeah.
420 and 423 or 420?
All right. So just to kind of a recap, for those that don't know, I think actually everyone in this room does, but the DPW operating budget, inclusive of the three numbers that Paul just said, including snow and ice. So that budget covers basically all things roads that aren't capital, right? So that we don't pave roads with the budget, but we maintain them. We sweep them. We do small repairs, potholes. We clean all the catch basins with that in that budget. We make a fair amount of repairs to the stormwater structures, whether that be with our in-house crew or subcontracting. We do all the tree work that we handle. For a handful of years, we were doing capital articles, or we had a various funding. But this year, the only funding in trees that we're going to have is within the budget for removals, pruning, emergency removals. That's all in the budget. We mow all the town facilities, so all the town campus, all the buildings. That includes Pine Hill School. So the minimum amount of landscaping that gets done up there, we do. All the recreation facilities get mowed, and this year we're doing the labor side of the line painting for all the fields. We do for recreation. We also we prep all the baseball fields for recreation with our labor. The fleet, the entire town fleet is maintained through our budget for things that are done within house. So all the DPW fleet costs are borne in this budget, and all the labor for the repairs to the police and fire fleet that can be done in-house is done within the DPW budget. Anything that gets outsourced, if a fire engine needs to be repaired, it goes to a repair shop. That's obviously in his operating budget. Same with the police cars. All the fuel is in the DPW budget. That used to be split. We used to do transfers, but we moved that in a number of years ago, with the exception of just two EVs that only account for a few $1,000s worth of electricity. That's not in this one. And then again, the last piece of what I call the DPW budget, but it's snow and ice. So the entire operation of snow and ice, all the labor overhead, the overtime, the materials that we purchase, the repairs for critical breakdowns, and the subcontractors that help us plow. That's all within the snow and ice budget. So that's kind of the summary of what we do for those that don't know.
thank you.
For the most part, this is the year I tried to just kind of follow guidance. There was a trend a number of years where I had line items I needed to push up. I didn't do a whole lot. The only few items that of late that I reassessed. was fuel. I took a hard look at that and used data that we have. Our usage, because we've had pretty consistent years with snow and ice. The past few years, they've been light, but they've been somewhat consistent. So there hasn't been a spike like a 2014 or 15 winter that would drive the usage up. We're very consistent on the gasoline and diesel purchasing. So I base that estimate on the most recent purchase we made for diesel and gas. I mean, anyone can make a guess of where we'll be in 9 or 12 months on fuel prices. I'm not going to venture that. People smarter than me that could. But I can tell you where our usage will be, aside from a massive spike in the next, month or two. Could throw the usage up. But so that's why I accounted for that.
And if there was a dramatic spike, say there's snow again, like we had, I don't know, 10 years ago or something, the fuel associated with snow and ice could be charged to snow and ice and paid same way that an overage in snow and ice is paid. So,
And we did that a couple of years ago.
sometimes that's needed. It's a blow off valve, if you will, cover that, but generally it's been all covered within that line there, within the operating budget.
It's a small item, but it was an oversight last year. The longevity, I pinned that to exactly where it should be. I'm not sure why we missed it last year, but that's in their contract. When they hit a certain years of service, they get a payout each year.
Much of the labor in this budget is part of the DPW union. That agreement kind of governs the costs associated with that. Annual increases, steps if they get them. And beyond that, Sean and then administrative system.
Your head count from fiscal 26 to fiscal 27 is the same.
My what?
Number of employees working DPWs, the same.
Yeah, I think probably all of 26.
There any open spots?
There is one.
The budgeted amount.
Right.
Sometimes it varies from vacancies, but the budget from 26 to 27 carries the same.
Right. Okay. But there is an open position at the moment.
There is. It'll likely be advertised in the.
Can you say which one it is?
What's that?
Skilled laborer?
Yeah.
How many skilled laborers do you have?
What's that?
How many skilled laborers do you have?
6. Well, if I was full.
You have 5.
Is all the snow plowing done by our people, or do you subcontract that?
No, we subcontract as well. It by people, it's close to 50-50. As far as number of pieces, the larger equipment is ours.
Yeah. Nora?
So what's somewhat concerning, just in terms of trends, in fiscal year 23, there was, 594. And now, it's almost $200,000 more, 783. Where do you, I'm just kind of looking at that approximately $200,000 and where it's going, or was it the DPW foreman? Looks like that was a significant one.
Well, a major increase. You jumped all the way back to 23.
Yeah, I
What
did.
number are you looking at?
Well, I'm looking at salaries without snow and ice at 594.
I'm sorry, I thought you were down on expenses.
426.
Well, those are actuals.
Right.
Yeah, well, we were shorthanded. That wasn't the budget amounts. We came out of COVID shorthanded, and then
So it was shorthand. Okay.
yeah, we had some turnover. And
Mhm.
anytime you have turnover, you're gonna, basically leaving money on the table there. You make it up on the other end because
Okay,
you're obviously subcontracting things that you probably could have handled in-house.
all right, so that was short for 2 years on somebody versus
Right.
hiring somebody.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Part of budgeted headcount, that hasn't changed.
What's that?
Budgeted headcount has not changed.
Correct. Yeah, some positions might have moved around, but
Okay, I
It's
just,
been-
thank you for clarifying that. I just was wondering if that was like a new hire, but,
yeah,
right.
It looks like the big jump was the actual of 25
To 26.
to the budget of 26.
Right,
And maybe there were, I don't know what the budget of 25 was, and what Sean is saying, perhaps there were some unfilled positions, that's why the actual is.
Okay. got it. Thank you.
yeah. And then jumping down to expenses, remember last year we picked up, sorry, I'm looking for the line right now, the stormwater permitting. So that $40,000 that came, was previously born out of capital articles. But it's an annual expense, so we rolled it in. So we held that same number this year. So if you're looking at the bottom, the expense line, that was a jump.
And it looks like your year-to-date expenditures, exclusive of snow and ice, are on budget. You're about 50% through December 31.
Yeah, and I mean this last warrant, which isn't on here, has there's a couple things, there's a handful of things that aren't an annual trend. Like we do all the catch basins at the same time. They all get cleaned in the fall, so that bill just came through. There isn't really a trend. It just looks like it hasn't been used, and boom. Maintenance is pretty high, so clearly we're going to go over on the vehicle maintenance.
And then does it rec charge you back? Like, how does that, we said you're doing the line painting?
Recreation.
Rec? Yeah,
No, there's no fee for service with recreation. There
Okay.
never has been. So it just kind of falls into here as mostly labor.
and that's mostly Jameson, or I thought they were doing something with line painting.
No, it's
That they were hiring some,
It's-
I guess that's you doing the line painting.
Benson and Laurel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fair amount of time with the line painting. Yeah.
Line painting, it's mowing, it's the infields for baseball, softball, breaking and.
There's a fair amount of line painting budget in their budget too.
That's what I'm trying to understand.
Oh, I see. I mean, so this is confusing. There was a difference. So prior to the robotics and us taking over any extra, we always did at Jameson, which is the baseball fields. We always did the line painting there. The contractor never did that. So they had a budgeted line item in the rec budget
Mhm.
for line painting. That was Pheasant and Laurel. We handled that, the line painting at Jameson, because we're out there every day, basically in the spring, prepping the baseball fields. So you prep the baseball fields, you lay a line in the dirt, and then you do those
Mhm.
foul lines. The benefit to us to having the robot is it'll do those, but we're still picking the labor up on the other side.
Because it's the line painting robot we're talking about.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're paying for the line painting robot, but we ended up picking up the labor. And it's been a little more than we thought, but it was late in the season. We didn't really shake it out much.
So does Rex still need to carry budget for line painting now that the robot is?
Well, yeah, they need to pay for the robot and the paint. Certainly nowhere near what it was. Remember, the robot's leased, I think, right?
Okay.
Yeah, the robots, it's an annual lease for basically the machine, the service. And then the paint that gets bought, they're buying the paint. We're picking up the labor, but yeah, it should definitely come down. If it's not coming down, I'm gonna stop doing it for them.
Robot is annual lease for Pheasanton and Laurel.
No, the annual lease is for the machine.
Right,
Wherever they want to.
wherever, but isn't it, but it's not at the
No,
baseball.
we're using it as baseball fields too.
Oh, okay, all right.
Same machine?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will point out as well that although this increase looks like it's about 50,000, 26 over 27, it's not quite that high because in the fiscal 26 budget, I don't think Sean's contract was in there at the right number. So it's not quite as big a jump.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
So I
Some
just-
of it was being paid out of a different source.
Town buildings had very small, but you're right.
Okay, so I just wanted to, that was to your
Okay.
advantage.
Yeah, the
I'm trying to
jump
point
was
that out.
significant.
Yeah, right. It's not as significant. Thank you.
You just have as line, and the public works budget, you highlighted line painting. That's line painting of the roadways, not the fields, just.
Right.
yeah, no,
Oh,
but you mentioned rec and
I
that you're
mentioned
doing,
rec.
yeah.
yeah,
Why?
yeah, right, the other half of that, yeah, that conversation was about a line painting line in recreation's budget, or the revolving fund, I don't know where it is.
Doesn't matter.
Not here, this one's.
No, I know, I wasn't
This one's
I wasn't
going
there.
down or going.
Yeah. Those are the extra stripes on Woodland.
When there's an automobile accident and someone goes into the guardrail,
It's a good question.
do we go after the insurance company for
We know
that?
who it is, yes.
So, yeah. Glad you asked that. So the repair line item that's in here, I generally try to hold for those repairs, which happen pretty often, that there's no report on. And because we have a lot of failing guardrails, if someone looks at them the wrong way, they fall apart. So if they're in a critical area, I'll tend to fix them. But the accident, as long as there's an accident report, the officers are marking that there's damage.
Yeah.
There's companies, we don't see it in this budget. There's companies that come out, they have an agreement. I sign off on the agreement that they will directly bill the insurance. And then I sign off when I inspect the work. And there's no cash flow through us. I have control of it. Who does it? Obviously, the cops are involved because it's, the police details.
This is just a side note, but I noticed a couple of years ago, there was a bad accident on Western Ave on the Framingham line. And that wooden guardrail, the fellow smashed into that. It's still
Yeah.
down. I wonder if,
That was a really bad crash.
Yeah.
That's actually not town-owned property, and I
Oh.
notified Eversource. Those are the gates and containment for the Eversource easement. So they haven't fixed it. If that was ours, I would have fixed it off of a claim.
that was a bad scene.
Yeah. The long night.
All right, anything else for Sean on account 420?
And 423,
423, snow and ice, right.
which for those who aren't aware, we budget snow and ice. We just pin it to last year's budget. The only increase just gets borne by the slight increase from labor increases, basically from the COLA. The state law allows us to overrun that budget. It would never allow, what it doesn't allow us to do is if we raise the budget, we would never be able to reduce it. So it's,
Keep it level or slightly increasing. The same as the legal one.
And then if there's an overage, if the expenditures are in excess of the appropriation, we do a supplemental in town meeting, or do we wait
You could
depending
do
on
a
what it
year-end
is?
transfer, you could do a reserve fund transfer, or you could do a supplement.
Depending on how much it is, I suppose. Like 1 year, I think it was a fairly large number. It was like 147,000.
Right, so my son will be covered in your transfer, so it was funded the year after.
So we'll know that maybe in March. Okay, good.
That keeps your eye on it. Closer to town meeting, we'll let you know.
it won't not be an overage.
Of course,
You know,
It's already an overage.
precipitation has to fall somewhere. Which
And it's a very low number. I tried a handful of years ago to raise it at least to something reasonable and got shot down and was told not to do that again. So,
This is the snow removal contracts we're talking about.
What's that?
This is the snow removal contracts we're talking about.
Well, it's the snow and ice.
Yeah.
And
The
you know,
whole thing.
basically, we, by the time we purchase the de-icing materials and maybe go out 1 or 2 times, we've already basically used up the budget.
Why don't we stick with operating budgets until we get the capital, then we can
Yeah.
go back to some of these old capital items to get updated.
Town buildings?
Always a favor.
So the town buildings budget is exactly that. It covers, to start with, it covers the utilities for all of the town facilities, which is town hall, the library, the police station, both fire stations, DPW. So you have the utility bills and then the various maintenance items, the HVAC. And on this campus, we have the well and, you know, most of the costs that are borne by that, running a public water supply here. And there's a maintenance contract, a cleaning contract, which cleans all the buildings except for the old man fire station. We don't clean that. And then that's about it. When we say maintenance, this budget is enough to cover the basic repairs to keep things operating. There's really nothing in this budget currently until the last line, which I added in here, to make any improvements or any serious replacements of equipment. Those traditionally have been done with town meeting articles, mostly regardless of whether the improvements were considered quote capital or not. There wasn't anything, you know, out of the ordinary. There was nothing in this budget that would cover major expenses, and certainly nothing in this budget that would cover anything that some might call an improvement, but it's also maintenance. If we wanted to paint, you know, a substantial amount of town hall, there's no money for that in here.
In the general ledger, is there reporting by building? Do you get, like, let's say, for example, if of this 500,000, how much is allocable to the library?
Oh, well, sure. It's mostly by these line items. And if you look at the fine print,
Yep.
It might look confusing, but that second column, the TB is town buildings.
Right,
And for many of the items you'll have,
I see.
and their sequence pretty much the same. You'll have TH for town hall, DPW, FD,
Got it.
PD, library.
I see it now. Yes, thank you.
You can actually tell by the last digits on the account number. See where it's like 0, 1, it ends in a 1, 2, 3, or 4. That also designates what the town is, and I could run a report basically just with those last digits on it, so you would know exactly what is on those individual buildings.
Thank you.
And then, of course, the unique things that some of the buildings have, there's elevators in some of the buildings and not others. There's sprinklers in this building and the library. Those ended up under alarm maintenance. So for these two buildings, the alarm maintenance looks significantly higher than the others, but it's fire alarms and the sprinkler system. So there's obviously much more there.
What's entailed with water testing?
So the water testing is associated with, again, running that public water supply. There's a contract with Whitewater, the company that runs it. So that's kind of a loose term, the water testing, but it's basically them, the operation of it. There is testing, there's lab fees, there's also the labor for them to come out and do it. And there's a lot of background reporting that goes on associated with that. So that's all covered under there.
It's like the same thing as if we have our well water tested, right?
Yeah, but this is because it's a public water supply, it's regulated by DEP, so.
But like, yeah, $18,000, well, is average, so 19,000,
Is it actually, does it require testing by?
right.
Yeah, regular frequency for specific contaminants?
So that much money,
You know,
wow.
It's gone up quite a bit because, there's PFAS in the well here,
Mhm.
so we're required to do monthly testing.
So if it's
Wow.
14, 21, 19, then why is it only budgeted for 15,000? I'm just curious, you know.
Well, we were hoping and still are hoping that the monthly testing is gonna go down significantly. Well, the monthly testing will go away when we implement the PFAS treatment.
Once the PFAS treatment is installed for this
Oh.
campus.
Oh, interesting.
And when
It's
is,
about $500 or $600 a month right now for testing what we already know we have for PFAS. It's actually quite frustrating.
Yeah,
It's a lot of people on my end.
wow.
But we have to quarterly reports and so that should fall off during this fiscal. Once we have that implemented, that's a different project. Not on this year's ask, but we can talk about it with the capital as an update. So,
When is it getting installed?
When I can figure out the bid.
Oh,
3 to 6 months.
okay.
There's an engineer that is providing a bid spec and then, we're working with them to get that. Been fully designed, provide. You have to get advertised for, construction.
Thank you.
Opposing even our RFP process, which complicates a little bit, so.
Okay. Thank you.
A little hold up on mine.
Paul, Sean, I have a question about your line 60, the $200,000. From like the note, it sounds like these are items that are not capital items from the onsite inside report, right? Good. So I guess my question is, have you and Jeremy gone through the list of items to identify that these are just the ones that need to be done urgently now this year versus ones from that report that may need to be done that could be pushed off to future years?
Well, they're highlighted pretty well in the on-site insight report.
Right.
If you go through them, and if you follow the report, we're actually short funding that by quite a bit. So what I did is I focused on the major capital ones, and then there's a lot of items we can discuss or would discuss once we kind of find out where that funding would be. I mean, I could put together a list of $800,000 worth of stuff, but we're not going to fund that.
So is this $200,000 priority items from that onsite insight report that you and Jeremy feel should be done immediately? Is that how we should think about that 200?
Well, no, what I did is I backed into, I took the funding amount that the on-site insight report says we should be spending. And rather than asking for and I forget what the first year was if we didn't even have a backlog, but say it was 1.8. I said, well, 200 of that should be it should be born in the operating budget because there's a huge chunk of those items that are not capital items.
Right.
So the ask is basically short funded by what we've been talking for a decade about adding funding in here.
So is that report only immediate things that need to be done right away?
No, that report's 20 years worth of things.
But
it highlights things in year one, and if on the capital side I have like 5 things.
So all these items are things that should be done right away and can't be deferred to a future year. I'm just wondering about, like, given the tightness of this year's budget, could that number be less than 200,000, or all those items?
The number could be 0.
Yeah.
But will something break and
So
be more expensive so later?
have you already gone through the process of prioritizing and saying these are the ones that absolutely should be done this year?
Well, I mean, that was part of what we were asking on site insight as well. So, and I think you have to look at this budget ask in concert with the capital request. There's the.
So is it some of those too, like the urgent things needed? Or is there a potential that some of those things, if you take a hard look, maybe are things that, yeah, we should do, but don't need to be done this year?
My recollection, correct me, I thought that the 26 suggestion was about 1,400,000 from that report. So there's 200 here and a million on capital is
Right.
That's how I'm interpreting it. And, maybe we can think about if there's an item in that report that's less than, let's say, $10,000, that it should flow through the operating budget. If it's greater than 10 or greater than 25, perhaps it flows through capital. But then the question is the timing right? Does it really need to be done? I guess I think that's what Paul's question might be. Even though it's listed on that report, is it in such a condition that it should be done during fiscal 27, which is quite a bit out? It's 18 months. It's hard to project, I suppose, to predict.
Predictive maintenance, there's reactionary maintenance.
There's quite a bit of repairs that are in there. What I didn't do is I didn't rewrite that whole report. If you wanted, I could come back with a handful of the bigger items. I mean, the reality is having it in the operating budget allows the ability to actually just do it. Because there's certain things that come up and in years past, we've ended up with, pretty big reserve fund transfers for things that were never going to be in the capital plan because they either came up or, weren't designed out, but needed to be repaired. There's definitely repairs I've held off on. There's the exhaust system and the CO detection at my garage is way out of date. I've been sitting on a quote that's in the plan. Offhand, I think it's $14,000 or something. It's still by no means is it a capital appropriation. It's only going to lifespan like 5 years before some of it needs to be repaired.
I get the question, I suppose, is there are kind of three sources: the operating budget, free cash, and bonded debt.
Right.
So it's how to allocate that amongst those three categories, I suppose. I'm not sure where free cash is going to fall out yet, but with the overlay coming out, maybe we have a little resource there or something.
Right, and with the current desire of the select board not to have an override for FY27, this request is one that has alternate funding sources outside of the operating budget.
So I think the objective
It's certainly, I think that report highlights a need that is not being addressed, so that the town needs to figure out an appropriate funding source for, a sustainable funding source. The three funding sources you just mentioned are what is currently available. There's other mechanisms. They all end up being paid for by residents of Sherborn, but there's ways to fund things with variations of exclusions, operating overrides.
Medfield's a really good example of something that they set up. I don't think it's something we're going to set up this year, but it's certainly something we should talk about. They have a facilities, I'm going to call it the wrong thing, facilities stabilization fund, I think, right? They fund it every year.
By one-time override that has cash going in, so they don't need to borrow for capital building replacements.
How does that get initiated? Select board puts forward something?
How does that get initiated?
Yes.
Well, it was an article that created it and funded it to start. And they essentially, in simplified terms, they update the plan similar to what I sent you, with the list of projects that sets the funding. I think they're funding it. Are they funding it the same each year?
It gets increased. The way the mechanism they use allows it to be increased by up to 2.5% per year, based on a select board recommendation and town meeting. But it's raised through the tax levy, or in addition to the tax levy, and it's a dedicated funding source to the capital building stabilization fund. It does require vote at town meeting, a ballot vote because it's an override, and then appropriations from the capital stabilization fund at town meeting to utilize.
I have a separate question. For the same category of maintenance, say alarm, HVAC, and so on, is that the same contractor? Such that we're getting the best deal and there are different items here because it's for different buildings? Or are you kind of consolidating to say, like, we've gotten the best deal for alarm maintenance across all of our buildings?
They're slightly different animals. The alarm maintenance, yes. The
Let's say,
As a different example, the HVAC, they're completely different animals. We were able to retain, at least for the first couple of years, the vendors that did the library.
So kind of to the extent that you can consolidate for the similar thing, you do try to minimize the overall cost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, that's what.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions on this category? Do you want to continue on with the operating budget? Transfer station, I think.
Yeah.
Then we'll go back to capital and other stuff.
431, is that right, John?
Yes.
So the transfer station, for those that don't know, is down on North Main Street. That handles numerous things. There's the operation, which is which town employees don't handle it. It's contracted currently through Rain and Father, who've been taking care of it for years. What they handle is, in their contract, the trash pickup at all what we would almost call our commercial sites, so that they pick up the dumpsters at all the facilities and haul that to the transfer station. Then they run. So all the labor at the transfer station while it's open is handled by them. Then we have, obviously, the solid waste that goes out. That gets hauled by a contractor. It goes to Millbury waste to energy site. That's at the very tail end of a 25-year contract.
I was wondering about that, Sean. Like, what's the plan for re-upping that contract? And is that gonna?
So we're in a group with a large number of towns that includes all of our neighbors except Framingham that are working on that. We kind of kicked that off about 9 months ago, 6 to 9 months ago. There's new ownership at the Millbury facility, so, and obviously, the economics are probably a little different than they were 25 years ago.
Which line item is that in this particular budget? That recycling or
Disposal.
disposal?
tipping fees.
Okay.
Being part of that group is obviously Sherborn is a very small fish. Millbury is not reliant on trash heater to keep their incinerators going, but part of that group is led by the city of Worcester.
So it's kind of flat in the 27 budget, and in the future, it's going to be dependent on whoever that
Well, I mean,
negotiation goes.
that contract is actually driven by a CPI adjustment year over year.
And then, of course,
It was helpful.
tonnage spiked up during COVID because everyone stayed home and cleaned their garages and we're eating takeout instead of going to the office.
In addition to the cost per ton is the amount that drives the budget.
The recycling, that is all of our cardboard and commingled plastic going to another facility called E.L. Harvey. We actually, because we've done such a great job, we're one of the only towns I know of, or the only town I know of, that our paper and cardboard leaves for free. We pay to haul it. We pay our hauler to haul it. But E.L. Harvey takes it and they're able to process it, and it holds enough value because we keep it clean. The towns that are basically doing single stream, where you're dumping your cans and bottles and cardboard and paper all together, they're paying $120 a ton for everything. That's pretty steep.
Yeah.
And so we pay that for the glass and plastic. It costs a lot of money to recycle. Pay a fair bit more to recycle than we do to send it to the incinerator. But we have no choice. It's DEP regulated. It wasn't that way when the economy was different. It flipped when China decided they weren't going to take our recycles anymore. So that's the way the market's shaken out. So 4 or 5 years ago, that flipped on us. Hazardous waste disposal is almost 100% our household hazardous waste day program that we do. That's pretty successful. The prices have been a little all over the place. It's a state bid number. They kind of change vendors. That's pretty well regulated too. It's a good service. Keeps a lot of hazardous waste from laying around people's garages.
So why increase it by 66%?
Why what?
Why is it increased?
That's what the prices did. Again, one vendor bailed on it a couple of years ago. There's only 2 vendors in the state, I think, that are doing it. Again, it's a state bid. We're locked in this year, so we know that price. We may try to do something different next year and not use the state bid number and ask them if there's something different. I mean, the pricing structure is the same. It's not the same price, but the structure is based on a setup fee and the number of users that are going to come in. You hit kind of a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
We barely hit the minimum. So we may ask them to, maybe there's a lesser setup fee or something, rather than just doing what Hopkinton and Medway and Franklin and everyone else are doing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at 5,600 and then.
I might even reach out to Dover and see if they want to share one.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about the water testing?
Yeah, so what that is, obviously, we have a cap landfill. So that's the simplified term. There's several different things that we're required to do because of that landfill. They have to come out doing a physical inspection of the landfill. They walk it, check it, make sure the cap is in proper order. There isn't trash flying around everywhere. They check the air gases coming out of the vents. And then they literally do water testing. There's wells around the cap. They take samples. It's increased significantly the past couple of years. Thanks to our friends next door that had PFAS in their water supply, DEP started looking hard at the landfill in Natick. And took about 3 years to finally decide Sherborn needs to test. In addition to all the other chemicals that we test for that are present, many are present in the surface water and the groundwater under it, we're testing PFAS. PFAS in environmental sampling is very expensive to do because everything has to be certified PFAS free. Their boots, their gloves, their garments, everything, because anything can contaminate when you're measuring to parts per trillion. With environmental water, it's much different than getting water out of the tap. Falls right into a tube and you close it. So
what was the event that occurred between fiscal 24 and 25 that caused that to jump? They just decided to start testing it, or was there something else
it wasn't an event here. I think it was trailing. I honestly thought it was going to happen. We used the same.
It jump was the best testing required by DEP. But
And we're not going to be mediating that in any way. That location. Just continue to pay this fee. Okay. Wonder what's less expensive, paying the fee?
It's a complicated question. Where's she coming from?
Yeah.
It's a landfill that's larger than Sherborn's, just big. It's general chemical upstream of that watershed. That's it's a Superfund site. So, who is the generator of that? That vision could be the difficult question to unwind. But there's no current requirement. issue, for that camp, the landfill was capped, meeting the requirements of DEP at the time.
When was it capped?
80s,
Long time.
I think 86.
The line keeps the moisture out, so the cap actually sheds water, so the trash and the water in the water.
A minor question. Any recollections the last time fees were adjusted?
Recently, probably 3 or 4 months ago.
Fees to consumers, I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
we adjusted mattresses and TVs and
the fees charged, then, you get a dump sticker for free if you want to show.
Yeah.
To show proof of residency, you get free dump sticker. But the fees are charged for the bulk item.
So those were addressed within the last 3 or 4 months.
I think so. It was definitely within the last 6 months. And I'm not adverse to doing it again. When we find we're typically just adjusting them as the market changes. If vendors' prices are going through the roof on electronics or something else.
The select board would set those fees. Other communities would charge for a dump sticker. That's not the most for residents. There are some communities becoming less common now, and some are not solvent anymore, but some communities have used enterprise funds to run their sanitation departments because they've got some source of revenue to offset the cost of running transportation or the dump. It's an enterprise fund that's fully self-supporting. You don't have any offsetting revenue. It's an expense of a general thing.
Does the operating budget have a revenue line out of that? It sounds like there is revenue.
This goes into local receipts, Deb.
She sent it to. I didn't print it. I wish I had.
Yeah, yes, it goes into local receipts.
So that's
Yes.
included.
That's-
Like 8,000.
Yeah. Well, one of the meetings, we're going to be talking about revenue, so we'll get more detail on that.
But I wonder why, like, you were just showing this budget, the revenue, and then the operating expense would be net of the revenue that you budget or plan.
Because it goes into local receipts, it does that out.
It's kind of where it goes,
What you would
right.
have to subsidize by the property tax.
Probably walk through that. Penn, you had something?
Yeah, is there, has anyone looked at whether or not there's significant, non-resident use in the transfer station?
Yeah, they police it pretty hard.
Okay.
I think at times people drive through there and they see a lot of non-residents, especially during the busy season.
Also the swap shop.
But that's mostly some confusion with the swap shop.
Mhm.
Because they do allow, and that's going to be up for discussion this spring. They do allow non-residents to both be at the swap shop, take the swap shop,
Mhm.
but you're not trying to hang on to the stuff there.
Right.
So you'll drive in there and on any given, especially Saturdays and Sundays, and see, 8 or 10 cars that don't have stickers.
Mhm.
They're usually parked in and around it, sometimes in the way.
Charlie's always there. Every time I go there, Charlie's always there, so.
Yeah,
And the vendor, the contract, the vendor, Wayne and Father is supposed to be checking the sticker. Monitoring, to ensure that it's not residents.
Nora?
Okay, so I've asked this before, and this is exactly, how many people do they turn away? Like, I was there today and somebody was throwing out a whole kitchen cabinets, like the whole kitchen. It was a contractor. I'm just curious. I didn't ask because I have asked before. I got my head chopped off. It's just, I don't see a sticker on the truck.
Yeah.
And
Policies, but in most transfer stations that are municipally operated, they would not allow contractors to dispose of construction.
so it was a whole, I'm just letting you know for the record, I was there today.
If it was a resident or a homeowner doing something themselves, they might allow that, but.
yeah, that's the problem. You don't know that. I was a contractor living in town.
All right, I don't know. So that's why I didn't.
Stuff.
A commercial contractor should not be using your transfer station.
Unless it's from his home. I mean, that's the thing.
That's why I'm just
Anecdotal
saying.
evidence you're just throwing out there.
It
And I can
was,
tell you, I haven't had a sticker in 15 years. but there isn't a soul in that dump that doesn't know me.
Right,
So there's a lot of that, and I'm not condoning it, but some people have 5 cars. They don't have stickers on them.
right.
And there's contractors, a lot of them that live in town. That person might have been taking the wet bar out of their basement. And we allow everyone to do that. There's a
Okay,
limit-
I'm just
there's a limit
saying.
to how much you can bring.
And I just saw like a whole kitchen, like 1950s, nice dark wood cabinets just getting dumped, and it was closed up really fast. Just saying. Like there's no, because that's costing money, right? That's
And it's in the tonnage.
And one of your tonnage, your tipping fees.
right.
I mean, we can shut that off completely. That's an option, but it's gonna, it's,
What do you mean shut what off
you
completely?
can shut off any of the refuse like that. But we've been doing it for decades, and everybody I know has brought more than bags of trash to that dump. I'm certain your family has too. You have furniture you want to break down and throw in there.
I've not done that for the record.
You're the rare exception.
I bring my little bag twice a week when I'm here on myself. Just go. But never mind, we'll get back on track.
You know,
I just think it'd be interesting to see how many people they really turn around if they keep a log of it. If there's any kind of security, it'd be nice to have security cameras there and just check it. Just saying, like that to me is a good use of security cameras. And check the,
I mean, you can have the camera there, but you have to spend through it. If you know when a specific incident happened, yeah, you can frame, but recording it and have somebody watch it.
I know, I'm just,
Find a violation.
Let's,
or more
let's move.
enforcement. Sorry, thank you. Thanks, sorry.
We're not gonna solve that
We're
problem
not.
tonight. Let's,
we could keep trying.
I'm trying.
let's jump to what's already in play, for capital. I think there was a schedule, and hopefully you have it, of, there was a tab on that. There was a tab on that, previous town meeting articles, it's like this. It was on the budget spreadsheet. It was one of the tabs.
Oh, yeah.
On, are you the DPW tab?
Yeah, the fourth, yes. Yeah, maybe we could just get an update on what's happening with some of these.
You want to ask specific questions, or you want to just go through the list?
Well, I just want, we could start at the top with his, the 75,000 for the, Western Ave Common Design. If we just get an update on that, are the funds, have they all been, encumbered or expended? Is this a remaining balance or just a general update?
That we did a significant amount of work towards the end of the year. We installed islands along Western Ave. We're likely going to install more. We're definitely going to add more warning signage and more visibility to it. So there's still work to be done.
But did Odessa fund that?
Well,
How
it's
does,
funny how that works. Yes, basically. We took it to town meeting as an article, backed up by the Odessa funding. The Odessa funding is,
That funding had been going to free cash, it had been going as a general revenue into free cash, and that capital item was funded by free cash of a like amount that was received by Odessa.
so it doesn't go into local receipts, so as to say, it goes, how does
It now goes
it
into
does
a
now.
special account. Deb can explain the details, but now it does go into a special account, but this capital request kind of fixed.
it was kind of the year before that.
Okay, all right, very good. So there was a free cash appropriation, so as to say,
Right.
spending it down. Program is in progress.
Yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
And we continue to get revenue from Odessa that is going into a special account that will be a source of funding for future projects that are applicable.
How much is that revenue from Odessa?
I don't recall. Deb, do you recall how much we get from Odessa?
Yeah, it's about 25,000 a year.
25 or 20?
Yeah, about 25,000 a year. And then the one year they didn't get in that fiscal year, so then it was 50,000 that year. So, but that now goes into a revolving fund.
Which revolving fund?
It's actually designated under the planning board. It's under Fund 175. Because that Gina was the one who set that up years ago with Odessa. So that the revolving fund, I don't have it in front of me, but it would probably be 267-175 something.
Seems like that maintaining the Western Ave is probably the purpose for the use of those funds. That's where the trucks are cutting through, and I'm not sure what the planning
Well,
board is spending
the
that.
permit actually allowed for a limited but a little bit broader view than just Western Ave. They were very specific to include any other areas that may be affected. So oddly enough, all of Coolidge, Kendall, Speen are actually, some would say, equally as affected as Western Ave, because the trucks are actually supposed to not be on Western Ave.
Well, more than a two-car carrier.
Exactly. But we certainly see a lot going through downtown that otherwise wouldn't be there.
So when we get to planning board, we'll
Okay.
ask them about
Yeah.
that revolving fund. Thank you. Then I guess the next one is the public water supply treatment. That was,
So that's what we touched on for the work that's going to happen here, and also at the fire headquarters, the PFAS treatment. And again, we're at the very final stages of putting that out to bid. Hope to be implementing that in the next, 3 to 6 months.
and that's funded by this free cash and grants, I suppose. Earmark.
Yeah, there was several grants that we got as well.
Okay. Next one looks like stormwater stuff.
Yeah, and there's two different ones. They're not right next to each other.
Yep.
Those are again, we were doing those annually as we were ramping up work for the MS4 permit. So what we decided to do last year, like I mentioned, we took the annual spend that just applies to the submitting the permit, the work that goes into just the annual permit. We put that in the operating budget, and we have an increasing workload for phosphorus reduction that's required by the permit because we're in the Charles River watershed. So that work is expected to ramp up significantly this year with the consultants, with both site specific designs of about 6 or 8 different spots, and then actually getting projects designed and ready to bid.
So in the next round of public money, you would want this bonded at 150? I assume that TBB means to be bonded.
Correct. I don't think either of these were bonded at all.
One was,
Looks like one of them was.
yeah.
And we started using it. So yeah, we'll obviously start. We'll end up hitting into both of these this fiscal year. It gets a little complicated because the fiscal year and the permit year don't line up exactly right, but and nor do they line up with construction years, but
The permit lined up the federal fiscal year, which is in September.
And the next item is that dump truck, ordered. Got the money for it, I guess.
that just showed up. In fact, it's going to work this weekend, I think.
Oh.
You pay the bill. Where you want?
What's that?
You just paid that bill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the January warrant. I believe it was 321,000.
I expect to see Facebook posts on it.
I wanted it lettered before I did that. I wanted it lettered before it went out for snow, and I don't think it's going. It needs to be calibrated and ready to go this weekend rather than get stickers.
Doesn't need a dent the first time it goes out. Give in time for the storm.
Great. That's nice that it's here. Excellent.
Comes down my street.
And I guess the bottom two I guess the refurbished dump truck is in process,
Yeah,
and I guess I'm confused by the last one, why it's to be bonded. Did she borrow that money in another way? Did the treasurer borrow that money? For the roadway management?
I think she probably hasn't bonded it.
Sure she did bond it.
I think so. I think that this spreadsheet needed to be updated for what she borrowed in 25. So I'm pretty sure there was only like two things she hadn't bonded before. And this spreadsheet, I think I updated it after the last capital budget meeting. And so that was bonded in 25.
In August?
Yes, or September.
And that's pretty much all committed. I think the balance is actually off, I think. Because the crosswalk work just got billed out and paid. So it might be half of what, I think she's showing 90. I think there's probably 40 left.
And was the chapter 90, if I'm saying it right, the chapter 90 money plus the supplemental money more than we had expected?
This past year,
Yeah.
well, the chapter 90 was more than I expected.
It increased chapter 90 by 50%.
Yeah.
That allotment is now higher than it had been for a decade or more. And then the other source of funding varies depending on the revenue it's brought in.
That was the supplemental. That was the millionaire's tax.
And then in addition to that, there's the millionaire's tax.
So did you have programs to spend that extra money? Were you gonna use it in this fiscal year?
Oh, yeah, we'll use it this fiscal year. And what we plugged into kind of our estimate for the roadways for this coming year is assuming we'll get the same level. I don't hold much hope out. I think Jeremy's more hopeful,
Yeah, we'll get.
optimistic than I am.
All right, so we can probably jump
I'm
over.
sure there's going to be supplemental, but chapter 90,
Yeah.
it will be the same.
All right, so we can jump over to the capital, I guess. Did anybody have any other questions on that stuff? All right, so this going through the capitals, yeah, for background, I put my email together before you sent me your supplemental email. So if we looked at roadway management first, you have the town 450 as compared to 350 from fiscal 26, is what I was reading. How it might take away, is that accurate?
Fiscal 26, I think I actually asked for 500. The select board pushed that to
350.
Yeah.
But I think there was more chapter 90 and Fisher supplemental money than was anticipated.
Right. It's still short of what the roadway management plan says we should be spending. We're short funding that plan.
So just for background, you don't take the 350 that the town was going to pay and reduce it by the excess that we got from the state. You spend
No.
state money in addition to
No,
our budget.
because we're still hundreds of thousands behind where we should be.
All of the town appropriation would get utilized. It's not, there are some other capital appropriations that you might net out. But since roadway capital is an ongoing year.
You spend whatever you get.
Yeah, we spend what.
So this year you're asking for 450. Are we expecting, so you're saying we shouldn't expect the 560 that we got from the state?
Maybe a little bit less. The supplemental appropriation may not be likely, but chapter 90, the core component is solid.
Yeah.
But that supplemental was from state surplus. That's not likely to continue.
So did the chapter 90 include the millionaire's tax allocation? Is that
That's
so?
what it is.
three. There was three. There was millionaire tax allocation, chapter 90, and then there was a supplemental state budget.
Right, and it was those three things that equaled
That's three things.
what I put in there.
Chapter 90 and the millionaires probably, I mean, chapter 90 will be the same. The millionaires portion.
Yeah,
It's
fish.
similar. The supplemental amount is not given the state budget revenue projections.
So we're thinking we're gonna get maybe around 450, 425.
Maybe a little more than that, but yeah.
Okay, so the 450 plus 450 is 900 total. That roadway management report probably had us spending $1 million, $1.1 million or something.
Yeah. Getting closer.
Every year.
And you have I think you produced a list of what you wanted to accomplish with that budget for the year. That was what, although you had a list of what, 202.1 million.
Yeah, we might swing at half of that.
Yeah.
And again, this is, as the year goes on, I get select board approval on any of these. Basically, as the funding's available. Obviously, I don't have use of the Chapter 90 funding. I'll plan it out and pretty much have the contractors on queue. It's usually, depending on how we fund it, right? Because we don't know how we're going to fund it. But if the entire thing goes to exempt, I'm waiting to July 1st. But there's oftentimes it was the opposite this year, but we'll sometimes get released to spend to commit the Chapter 90 money before July 1st. If the state has passed a budget, DOT will let us at least commit it. We may not be able to get the reimbursement. This year was the opposite. It was way late. So sometimes I have use of the Chapter 90 money before I have use of the town meeting money.
Which one of these is your one or two highest priorities?
Well, Maple Street's in process, so it has to get finished. We're probably going to push Washington Street, hoping the state's going to pick up fixing that, but it's getting really bad. It's becoming a maintenance problem. Whitney Street, again, me and Jeremy will be in a meeting, I think, in a week or two to talk with the Mass DOT, Ashland, Framingham, and others about a major detour that may happen, which is at least gives us a reason to hold off on Whitney, see if we can get them to fix it, because we're foregoing the maintenance for a while. But I'm not paving that road and then having them run massive amount of cars down it. So it would have otherwise been top of the list because it's fallen pretty fast.
Yeah.
There's a couple neighborhoods that we need to assess. And it plays into how bad they fall apart right now, and whether or not we can catch them with a chip seal that's going to save us a lot of money rather than a total rebuild. Cider Hill is just about to completely fall off the cliff.
I can attest to that.
It's debatable whether it's already gone. And there's work that has to be done on Stone Street. We committed to doing some stormwater work there because we have at least one resident that's at risk of flooding. So Snow Forest, Cider Hill, and again, I can't really dictate what my mix is till I at least know close to what my funding is going to be. Some of these are, a rather large portion.
How do you know if gas lines need to be deepened, as you mentioned in here? Like, how does that work? You have to then coordinate with Eversource on Russet Hill, for example? Does major draining ice grass swale may need gas lines deepened?
I wrote that last year. So there's an issue on Russet Hill. where the shoulder of the road bleeds out a massive amount of water. And we're not sure we can fix that shoulder. And Eversource is constantly in there fixing leaks because it's old steel line. So I'm trying to coordinate with them to get them to suck it up and fix it. And if they do, then they're going to help us fix the road. Because every time I try to work on it, they can't even find the stubs that are in there.
Mhm.
And we need to do certain subsurface drainage. It's that the 20, 22, 24, all those houses, the water's just pushing out of the hill.
Mhm.
You will see that in the next couple of weeks. If you drive down Russet Hill, it's just an iceberg on the side of the road.
Which one do you want to do next? Truck?
Yeah, the truck we want to order. A couple of years ago, we ordered a truck. It got hung up thanks to the COVID melee with the manufacturers. It's in service now. It's a great truck. I would have followed up. We got a little off cycle because we're waiting so long for that truck to finally get built. We're basically going to build its twin. It's a very good truck. It's very versatile. That'll give us a third truck that uses the swap bodies so that one can be a chipper, one can be a dump truck, one can be a sander. After this is ordered, we'll probably follow up, and we will follow up in a year and ask for another sander. So of the 3 trucks, we'll have 2 sanders. And then again, this set of bodies goes on any one of the trucks just the same.
Are you taking a truck out of service, Sean? Like saying,
Yeah, there's a truck, and I was going to grab some pictures to show you. Unfortunately, it's in Ashland at the shop. We're probably not going to have it back for the storm. It's still runs as far as I know, but it's in pretty bad shape.
summarize then, you're replacing truck 34 with a new truck that will carry.
Exactly. And 34 way beyond its useful expected life.
What's the timeline?
It's going to have some pretty expensive repairs, but I need it to make it through this winter and at least partway through next winter. We won't, if we order a truck in July, we won't have it beginning of the winter.
So what's the timeline on from order to delivery? 12 months? Is that what you expect?
Yeah, like it to be better, but there's no guarantee from Ford. And because Ford is such a, you'll hear the same thing from the chiefs, it's frustrating across the industry because the chassis are so unpredictable. You order the chassis, you order the equipment from someone else, they usually won't sit on the equipment. So as frustrating as the chassis shows up and the equipment, you know.
You get one.
Yeah. And again, the same thing happened with the Western Star, the truck we just got.
Is there any remaining value in the truck you take out of service? Right. Is it still?
In a year and a half, we'll auction it. We'll probably get a couple $1,000. It's hard to say.
So not much for a budget.
No.
I'm gonna save the hard one for last. The recycling center equipment. That's the one that came in late, right? That's the 175.
Yeah. We able to get that out to everyone?
I did email it, but it
Apologize for that.
It's okay. So that's going from, we originally got a draft capital improvement request. That was listed at 75. It's now 175.
Yeah, and what I did there, I hadn't worked on that yet. And if you had looked back when we were first starting in October, I was making my edits to Jeremy's, the large sheet, and we had already had 75 in there for this year. So I put that in, not having the ability to hire an engineer or anything else, but it kind of went in there as a placeholder. Since then, I just recently met with an engineer who we're working on the contract with right now. And that's actually a sheet for the facilities to see. We have the funding to have the engineer draft up the design bid specs. And just for the history of this, basically everything at the transfer station was installed. It was built out and installed back in '86 when we capped the landfill. E.L. Harvey, the same company we're still recycling with, was going around the state and capping landfills. So they came in, they contracted, they did the site work, they capped the landfill, they built out the structure that's there, the concrete abutment for the compactors, put in the compactors, all the electrical work. Prior to that, the only thing that was there was the swap shop. It just housed the bulldozer that constantly capped the landfill. So that electrical infrastructure hasn't been touched since then, with the exception of a major short failure and a fire that we had a couple of years ago in weather just like this, because the underground feeder froze, shorted out, knocked us out of service. We were on a generator for like a month. So the building inspector and electrical inspector were nice enough to let us put it back together the way it was, but nothing was to code. So you have to crawl in under the compactors to even get to the electric meter, which Eversource never should have allowed. But so we put it back with a commitment that we'd fix it. So the engineer looked at it.
So this is all electrical work,
Yeah.
$175,000.
Yeah. Well, no, what's changed slightly, the same time we've been working with E.L. Harvey, two of the compactors that are there, obviously the compactors that compact the paper and the commingle, those are owned by E.L. Harvey. Back when recycling was a cash cow, they would come in, they would put their equipment in there and not charge you for it. When that economy flipped, they took a look at the account, realized they weren't charging us for it, and they started charging us for it. So they're currently, and for the past couple of years, we've been paying about $6,600 a year just to rent the compactors that are there. And they like that because we can't really rent their compactors and look at other vendors. So there's, the finances of it. What we were hoping was they probably had already written those off. I was hoping to get those at a diminished value, maybe $10,000 a piece, rolling into this and just keep them. They came out, they looked at them, they responded back to me just last Friday and said, let us know when you're done with them, we'll come get them. We're not selling them to you.
Mhm.
I can't rationalize why they would do that. I don't know why they'd want them back, but
Are they still operational?
they're operational right now. But we're going to be doing a significant amount of work, rewiring everything. So the best time, if we're going to have to buy units, we should buy them, do it as one project, rewire everything, put it all back together, and be done with it, and own them. And then, we have the freedom to move the operation to someone else. There is other companies that have reached out to us. We don't really have the ability to shop it around at the moment, because we look kind of funny because the container says E.L. Harvey right on the side. We can't go running into someone else's place. So that's the project. There's also, as we look at it, there's some safety improvements we need to make, at least on the public facing side of it. So we're going to address that. We're not really going to address the ADA compliance issues. I'm not even sure how to wrangle that, but we're definitely going to do what we have to, at least on the compactors, to make sure no one falls in them.
You know what the breakout is between the electrical work and the physical pieces?
The compactors?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have pricing back, but based on the compactors we bought, the numbers are a few years old. I'm estimating about $60,000 for the compactors and a set of containers to go with it.
And $115 for the labor?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, couple days ago, I sent it out and I thought the electrical was gonna be 100. Just after meeting with the electrical engineer, but again, he hasn't done his work yet. He expects to only take about 3 weeks. We don't have a contract, so add another week or two. I should be able to get an engineer's estimate within a month. And I intend to actually put it out to bid as soon as we can after that.
Is it fair to capitalize all that? Because you have some physical equipment, the compactors, then you have some doing electrical work. Can you capitalize it all together?
Oh, yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably have to go through the public bidding process.
Oh, yeah.
Probably good in a way.
Two different,
Capitalize.
two different types. One will be the building. Yeah, no, fine. I don't know, Sean, did you mention that how much you were at the current contract about compactors for? About $6,600.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, can you, that's what I was gonna ask. And you've done a cost study that it's better to buy them? You said versus renting?
So it's definitely better to buy it.
Mhm.
One, they're gonna up that rent in the course of the next 10 years, which pays back inside of 10 years. And again, the operation will pin to them. We have no ability to send either of those streams somewhere else. If we own them, we can send the paper somewhere else if someone wants to buy
The
it.
rental just for the compactors, do they provide containers as well for the compactors?
That's part of it right now. The parent containers.
Electrical costs. Good.
Yeah, so. It's less than.
Okay,
And again, that's taking money out of right now we're paying the rent out of the operating budget. So I actually checked that off and I sent it back as a reduced cost.
And right now, we're tied to using EL, is it still EL Harvey? Because we're renting from them, and so we have to bring our materials there. If we stop bringing our materials there, they'll pull a contract on that. Yes.
so you can vet out other, okay,
Shop around other vendors.
right.
So
I have a question.
Yeah.
What about the maintenance of the new compactors? Do we have to do that? Did you buy?
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
Where's that number? In your head?
Like how much is it?
Yeah, how much?
I wouldn't expect really any for the first 4 to 5 years. We haven't done anything. We'd be buying the same units that we have. They're actually very similar to those ones. They're the same units that we have for the trash. And we've only put oil on them and maybe replaced a line on one of them in the past 5 years.
So you've had to maintain what we have right now, or?
We don't have to maintain the rentals.
Okay.
We maintain the
Right, the ones
trash
that we
compactors.
own, right, yeah. So I guess that would go into the cost, comparison too, so I don't know what that
A little.
number is, yeah,
It's pretty minimal.
minimal.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea what it takes
electric
to,
motors, it's balance.
just, okay,
Yeah, I would expect the units to run. I mean, those units are over 10 years. I would expect the units, especially doing the recycling, to last 15 years. And, a few $100 hoses if they need them. It's pretty insignificant.
Well, yeah, so you haven't made a lot of service calls for them to service it?
No,
Yeah, okay.
How many compactors do we have?
we have 2 that do the trash and 2 that do the recycling.
So 2 we own and 2 we rent.
Correct.
and, the follow-up would be, vendors like E.L. Harvey, I mean, is E.L. Harvey that much more expensive than others around that we were?
I mean, there's not many vendors, but being tied to one vendor,
Yeah.
gives them some advantage.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly does. We can't really lean on them much on the price for the co-main. There's other avenues. We could start splitting the glass. I mean, we want to look at all those things because they don't want the glass. It ends up in there. It's going at a pretty high cost. And again, we're kind of limited at what we can look at the moment.
Okay, any other questions on that? When we drive on to Farm Pond,
Oh, fun.
stormwater stuff, there was a sheet. Yeah,
I didn't send you anything. I did.
Camtech?
I sent you the price quote, right?
Yeah. And so
So
yeah, there's also, it was in the earlier, it's in the same, there it is, yep.
So a little bit of history on this. For those that don't know, this project was kind of born when people were asked to come up with projects for the ARPA funds. There was a lot of discussion back then. Everyone will remember where that money should go. So I think the Farm Pond Advisory Committee actually pushed for this to redo that path. I assume everyone's been to Farm Pond and climbed up over the hill and back down. That path does a significant amount of damage to the beach and therefore the water quality. Because the water just flies down that path unabated right to the sand, blows the sand right into the beach. Summer storms, you can actually go down. We have to take a machine down there oftentimes to fill the trench back in. So last year we got funding, I guess it was 2 years ago. The ARPA funding was used for the design work. It's rather costly because you're not just designing a path, you're designing some pretty good stormwater. It had to go in front of Conservation Commission and be submitted to DEP, obviously. So the design was finished, and then there was, a handful of comments that came back from DEP. So there was some design revisions that needed to be done. Those are complete, submitted back to DEP and Concom. So design-wise, we feel like we're probably 100% there. That's the basis of that estimate that you have that someone's sharing. So
Was there any thinking about having the revolving fund contribute to cover any of this cost?
I don't think the revolving fund really has any excess in it outside of the operation. But I don't operate that revolving fund.
Yeah, there's about. Yeah, it runs about 130,000
Excess?
excess, yeah. Maybe 50 could come out of there or something like that.
I think the biggest opportunity to have other funds pay for this is by grants.
Right.
We've put in a statement of interest for an MVP grant. Which the grant application opens, I believe, in early February. We might know by April if we get the grant. And it may cover it. That type of grant would cover the entire cost of the construction. Some of the MVP program.
When do you make application?
Early February, but we've already put a letter of interest in.
And how long? When do they expect to?
Like April. So, I mean, this is one that we'll be seeking the select board's input on, whether they would like to continue having this as a request at this town meeting or defer to give us time to chase after some grants.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. Any questions on that from anybody? All right, let's jump into town buildings, I guess. Town facilities and infrastructure. Do you have a revised? Well, let's go through that sheet. There's this page from.
Yeah, does everyone have this? I think it's a good place to start.
Yep. And it was today's email.
Just a tidy with that.
That was probably my last.
I go
email.
through every one of them until I find.
You said this is which one? Facilities and infrastructure?
Yes. Paul's gonna put it up on display.
Facilities and infrastructure.
Nice. Is this today's version? Or the late today's version?
I think so.
Okay. So what I did here to try to help everyone understand, there's a little bit of money left for prior appropriations. Jeremy, myself, Deb and Diane met, and we talked about, the onsite insight report has projects that are going to start. There's obviously projects in the future. Those will however we want to cover that design is one thing, but currently we have a couple projects that we're asking for that need design. And so they're highlighted in the top box. The electrical upgrades at the transfer station we just talked about, that's how we're going to fund, that's how we're going to pay right now for that engineer. Also, the major and most important project for this year's town buildings capital is the exterior renovations that were highlighted in the on-site insight report, which most importantly is the roof. We have to do the roof. We're going to start seeing ice dams probably tomorrow, if not this weekend. So this roof has to get done. There's a handful of other projects that we're going to try to combine with it, because it'll probably be most cost effective to do those at the same time. But so obviously that, we need a consultant, we need an architect working on that. We're going to use that current funding that we have to do that, so we can draft up the plans. It's not sophisticated plans, but we need bid specs so we can go out to bid. That's the top box. Then obviously, there's two different asks. There's an ask for design funding in this town meeting for the specific projects that aren't the current year's projects. So those are the feasibility at my building at the DPW. We've been talking a long time about the salt shed. It's way past its expectancy. It is a concern. And there's several different ways to go about rebuilding that on that site, and some other storage enhancements, and the stormwater and the tight tank for the wash bay upgrade that they've been on the plan we haven't done because it needs to all be combined. So just the feasibility study, we need to start looking at what can be done there, whether we need sprinklers in the building, if we add anything to that site, etc. That's the first ask. One of the future projects in the on-site insight report is replacing the kitchen, which is relatively easy at the fire station, but we need to replace the HVAC. It's original to the 1999 rehab. So the air handlers that sit directly over the kitchen, we can't replace them after we need to do them while we're doing the kitchen. And they're kind of a maintenance nightmare, and they're old, they're not efficient. They're way beyond their expected life. So that's just the design work estimate to do that. This building's overdue for HVAC upgrades. Again, that's in future years. We kind of pin that across a couple of years to spread the work out here. There's a huge air handler everyone knows about above us that you hear every once in a while. It's not only undersized, but it's beyond its life. And a chiller out back that is the single biggest user of electricity the town owns. And it's 25 years old. It's showing its age. It's costing us a lot of money to operate and maintain.
It's noisy too. Right outside.
The noise next to somebody's office.
Well, isn't it good at?
Only when it's running.
It like goes.
Pretty silent.
Noise out of your office, yeah.
final one there is at least the first part of design work to replace the septic system at the library. That was not done when the library got added onto. It's the original 1971 system. Does it have to be done today? It does not. Is there any way to predict when it will fail? There is not. We just did a recent Title V just to so I could answer when people say, well, have you done an inspection? And we did. And it passed its Title V. But again, anyone that knows anything about septic systems, you don't know when they're going to fail. We actually had great concerns after the construction. One, after it sat dormant for the better part of 6 years. And the site was pretty well beat up, but it didn't fail. So at least for my well-being, when it fails, I can't really say, well, I mean, if people say, why didn't you have it in the plan? It's in the plan. We should at least probably work on the design, because if it failed tomorrow, it would take 2 years to replace. It's going to take some work. So that's what we're looking at for design. So that's one town meeting article for the 75,000. And then the projects, again, these were highlighted in the on-site insight report. Town hall is by far the highest priority. Again, we'll be working with the architect in the next probably month or so. So he's working on a proposal for us. We can scope the project.
When you say exterior renovation project, is that the roof and pointing, or what's in that?
Yeah, he actually highlighted about 6 things. If you were going through the on-site insight report, I don't think we should try to do that right now.
No.
We all want to put our glasses on.
No.
The major items are obviously the roof, some work to the gutters, and the chimney, and all the window openings in the building where the brick meets the window frame need to be resealed. It's all failed. We've had several instances of massive bees nests within the cavities. Remember, this is an antique building, so it had weighted windows. These are very, very, very good windows, but the failure right now is the joint between the brick, and it has caused water leaking too. We've had stained ceilings because wind-driven rain, especially this side, have caused just random leaks, and you'll get that in an old brick house.
And can you mention what I asked you about the roof? That it predates the renovation of this.
Yeah, everyone thinks it was done in like 2002. It wasn't. I don't have a date on this roof, but it's in excess of 30 years old, maybe like 35.
How's the insulation up there?
Insulation's very good. The problem is the insulation, it now became a hot roof. We insulated the roof, so now the snow stays on the roof, which never happened. It used to melt off within 24 hours of a snowstorm. Snow on a roof will cause ice dams if it's not insulated well. But sorry, if it doesn't have any ice and water shield or anything else, because you'll get the snow. You'll see it tomorrow if you come by. You can see that the walls cause a little bit of melting at the edge, which is a curse, because then it refreezes and you can actually see it starting to build ice up around at the gutter edge. That'll take no time to climb right up under those 35-year shingles.
What are your thoughts on gutters versus no gutters? Builders have different thoughts on that. Like a French drain.
Well,
In order.
I hate gutters in the winter,
Right.
except for the amount of ice that you end up on the ground. You have to have gutters. We spent a fair amount of money on gutters on the police station, because you constantly have water dripping off. We had to put gutters on the front of the library because the water was coming off the roof for days and going all the way down the walkway. We couldn't keep the walkway from freezing up.
With all the public access into the building.
Yeah. I just been on some parts. I see different things and
The gutter system here is actually very good because it's not actually connected to the building. they spent a lot of money on their copper.
Mhm.
They work good. But again, just because we insulate and we haven't put a new roof on, we're susceptible to ice dams right now, more so than we ever were. So it's something we'll have to mitigate if we get a couple feet of snow and it stays up there. I'm gonna have to get somebody in here to at least rake off the edges.
Where does it go underground somewhere? Do you ever go to like drywall?
Yeah, it's the storm system and ends up
Over there?
off-site. There's pipes all the way around the building. They actually did a nice job doing that when they rehabbed it.
Mm-hmm.
Then in that project right now also includes the two side entry doors are failing, and the landing towards the generator, or adjacent to Jeremy's office, has broken and been repaired, and the railing, the corner of it's broken. So to repair that, replace the two doors. They're wood doors that they're failing. They should be replaced. Those are the big ticket items.
So just to sync up with this spreadsheet that we had before, we had town facilities and infrastructure at 1,125,000. So do I read this right now that it's the 75 and the 814,900? And the 175 we already discussed. Any other questions for Sean? Thank you.
That's it.
That wasn't so bad, Sean.
Just two.
It's just the beginning. Don't get a false sense of security.
I'll tell the select board you voted on all of my budgets.
Well, the good part is we're not voting yet.
Yeah.
We're listening. We're in our information gathering and listening mode.
Let me know if you need more info.
Well, it's very helpful. Thank you. There's probably not much on the farm pond revolving fund that you want to go over. It's pretty consistent from year to year. So
The genie is here.
Jeannie, is there anything that you'd like to update us on?
No, it's gonna be basically the same. Next year, there's a couple of expenses we're gonna do. I don't know if anybody's noticed, we've replaced 2 out of the 3 lifeguard chairs. The third one will be being replaced this winter. We're going to get a new handicap accessible wheelchair. They run around $1,800 to 2. So we're looking into those. I presented a picture in front of the disability committee last week. And other than that, except for a COLA raise for lifeguards, we did have to raise the salaries last year just to compete with other towns. But I think we're good to go.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Jeannie? All right. Thank you. Thank you, Sean.
Thanks.
We have next any advice. Does anybody have any committee member reports that they like to bring up at all?
Yes, I do. So 3 quick ones. One, somewhat redundant at this point, but Alex Ritchie and I met Sean and got a tour of town facilities and something to look at the budget, but nothing to report that we didn't hear tonight. Adam Nee and I met with Zach Ward, the fire chief, looked at his budget, which is up, and we communicated to him that, as you already knew, it's a tough budget year. We'll be looking hard at his budgets. And then Nora was on the subcommittee, but Nora's resigned, so there's an opening. So if people are interested, then Steve let me know.
From the subcommittee.
On the subcommittee, yes. Thank you for your service.
No fun anytime.
Anybody else? Anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We are adjourned. It is 9:10 PM.